Welcome. Let's start with good posture. Feet are hip width parallel, knees unlocked. Lengthen the tailbone, lengthen the crown, feeling that light connection between your ribs and hips at the front. Pelvic floor draws up, lower abdominals draw in on the exhale, and then you let it go on the inhale. Feel that natural movement of the belly and activation of the abdominals as you breathe. On your next exhale, let's roll down. Bring the chin to the chest, round the whole spine. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, restack, lengthening the tailbone towards the floor, lengthening the crown to the ceiling. Exhale to roll down. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale to restack. Feel the upper back round, then the lower back, then the legs stretch. And then restack. And let's take our feet out nice and wide for a side stretch. One hand on the thigh, other hand up as we slide and bend, then return. Slide and side bend, and then back to vertical. Crunching through the side waist while we lengthen the other. One more. And then let's do the other side. Keep the pelvis still so we know the movement is coming from our spine. Reach the arm up and over, letting the shoulder come up towards the ear. Last one. And then let's do our hip flexor stretch. One knee on the carriage. Push the carriage away, lunge down low, forearms on the bar. Front leg is bent with the front knee next to the foot bar. Harder option, catch onto the back foot and lunge back down. If you can, come back down onto your forearm. Now stretching the front of the thigh as well. And let's do the other side. Hip flexor stretch first. Front leg bent. Hips as low as you can. And it is a strong stretch, but simply try and relax and let go with the hip muscles as much as you can. Harder option, catch onto the back foot, lunge back down as low as you can. Just holding onto the foot increases the stretch a lot. Eventually you might need to pull the foot closer. And then let's do child's pose. Both knees on the carriage. Sit back on your heels or keep your hips nice and high. Round your spine up to the ceiling and then extend your spine or flatten it back out. Round up and then flatten or extend. Exhale when you round. Inhale when you extend. When you round, look towards the thighs. When you extend, look forward towards the platform. Abdominals help you round, and then it's really just a letting go of everything as you extend. The carriage will move forward and back a little bit as you move. Keep the arms nice and straight, stretching through the sides of the body. Last time. And then let's come into a seated position to do chest and shoulder stretch. So we're going to be seated, facing the ropes. You can have your legs however you like. Then we'll have our hands on top of the foot bar, palms facing down, or at the side of the foot bar as an easier option. Then we move the carriage forward, roll the shoulders back, and then reverse. Lift the chest as you go forward. Allow the spine and shoulders to round as you come back. As the carriage moves forward and you lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together. We're stretching at all different angles, which is important for the shoulders, but most of our attention is on the squeezing together of the shoulder blades, the chest opening, helping us to reset our posture. Inhale when you lift, exhale when you release. And then let's set up for our leg press series. I'm going to use 1 green or heavy spring, but you could definitely do 2 springs. Let's lie down on our back with our pillow or our headrest up, heels on the bar, hip width parallel. Press away, legs nice and straight, and take a few breaths and gently imprint or flatten the lower back into the carriage. Bend and press when you're ready. Come down most of the way with your carriage and press all the way out to the top. We're in parallel, so that means our knees point straight up to the ceiling, and we want to keep our lower back lightly imprinted into the carriage the whole time. 1 more on our heels, and then let's change to our toes. Bend and press, keeping the heels lifted. Inhale, bend, exhale, press. Using that exhale and the scoop of the lower abdominals to help you keep your back flat as you straighten your legs. Notice that natural pattern. It's naturally flat when you bend. You need to keep it flat when you straighten. And then this time, let's hold the legs straight, calf raises, lower and lift both heels, keeping the knees completely straight. You choose a tempo that suits you, working the calves and the ankles. And then let's set up for frog with our heels on the bar. Double leg press. Inhale, bend. Exhale, press in a turned out position. Knees open as you bend, inner thighs squeeze as you press. It's a narrow V with the feet, and it's a narrow opening with the knees. We still have that pelvic tilt, lower back imprinted. 2. This time, let's hold our legs straight and move onto our toes, still in frog position. Inhale, bend. Exhale, press. Keep the heels squeezing together. Keep the little pelvic tilt. Remember, those things are the shape, and that's important. We need to be in the right position, but we have to remember to actively do pelvic floor, scoop lower abdominals as we move. That's the hardest part. 1 more. Then we're going to keep the legs straight and in frog, calf raises, lower and lift both heels in frog position. So we've got a small turnout, just working the calves at a different angle. Of course, if it's no good, you could do it in parallel. Last one. And then let's set up for wide frog, heels right on the outside edges of the bar, knees wide, and then press away. As wide as you can with the knees. Inhale, bend, exhale, press. And we can go pretty wide without thinking about it, but if you actively open the knees on the way down, you'll probably find there's a little bit more range there, creating work in the right spot on purpose. 1 more. Then let's go onto our toes, still in wide frog, and continue. Inhale, bend. Exhale, press. Knees as wide as you can as you come down. So we're doing a lying down leg press, pretty simple, but even here, you've got to bend and straighten the legs. You've got to keep the back flat and open the knees. Movement is complex. There's lots to think about. 1 more. I'm going to hold the legs straight and do calf raises, lower and lift, lower and lift. So we're still in that wide frog position. You might want to bring your feet in a little bit so they don't run into the side of the bar. 2, 1, and then let's bring our feet together and do some prancing to stretch our calves. 1 leg straight, 1 leg bent, alternating sides. There's still a little bit of work here, but focus on the stretch, heel pressing under. Stretching our calf muscles and ankle joint. Now it's totally fine to keep it moving, dynamic stretching, or you might prefer to just hold it on one side and take a few breaths there. Both are correct. You choose what way you like to stretch. Either way, try and relax the upper body and let the tummy muscles go. let's bring our carriage all the way in. Move down a little bit so your shoulders are not squished. And let's grab the handles and put our feet into the big straps, ready for legs in straps series. We'll bring our legs up to vertical and then press them down towards the foot bar and then bring them back up. So we exhale, press the legs down, inhale, come back up. Now we only press down until the ropes get close to our body. There's no need for our ropes to touch our body. That's too low. When we come up, only come up as vertical as you can without your bum lifting. Feel how our back is naturally flat as we go up, but we need to use our tummy muscles pulling in to keep the back flat as we press down. This time, let's press down about halfway for openings. Open the legs really wide and close back together. Open and close. Legs stay straight and turn down if you can. That'll work the inner thighs a bit more. The carriage should move as we open and close. Watch that your legs don't slowly end up higher and higher. We want them to be down at that halfway or 45. One more. And then let's bring the legs together and up to vertical. Big circles. Open and circle down until the legs come together. Then back up. Open and circle. Legs up through the center. As wide as you can to the side. Letting the legs turn out naturally on that circle. Let's still keep it within that range where our tailbone is down at the top and the ropes don't touch our body at the bottom. So we still want to work hard, but we have that extra focus on control, breathing, and what's happening in the center or the core of our body. One more this direction. And then let's go the other way, down through the center, open and circle back up to the top, through the middle, and then circle to vertical. Legs are straight, and they follow the same pattern, parallel in the center, turned out for the circle. Press and return. It's a little bit harder to control this way. Try and keep your tailbone down at the top. Sometimes it just takes a little while to get used to the movement, how soon we've got to bring the legs back together to keep the tailbone down. One more circle. And then let's press the legs down halfway for frog. Legs turned out, heels together, bend, knees wide, and then press back over the foot bar. Bend and press. Knees wide as you bend, but the heels stay together the whole time. And you can see we're pressing out in general on a diagonal over the foot bar. You could aim a little bit lower if you wanted to work harder, or a little bit higher to make it easier. But you still want to feel like you're pressing into the resistance. Now let's do wide frog. So we've got our feet apart. Imagine our heels are as wide as the foot bar as we bend and press. Ropes come down onto the inside of the knees when we bend. And we get good feedback from the ropes. If the ropes are not in the right spot, we need to check our legs. And it also helps us with our symmetry as well. One more wide frog. And then let's hold the legs out straight and together. Let's get rid of our pillow. Arms down by our side, ready for rolling over. Keep the legs straight, send them up and curl your tailbone a little bit off the carriage, then press it down. Legs fold, bum lifts a little bit. Now the reformer and the ropes are helping us, but also use your tummy muscles to flatten your lower back and peel your spine up off the carriage. If you can, start to go further and further. Eventually you'll be able to roll all the way up onto your shoulders. But no rush, it might take a little while. And now we can try our rollover with bent legs. Bend and roll over. roll back down, and then push out over the bar. So it's the same pattern, just with a bit of knee bend as you roll over, a bit like a big reverse curl, and everybody's different. Maybe you're better at this one, maybe you're better at the straight leg one. See which gets you the better rounding of your spine. Because it is back stretch and abdominal strength all mixed in together in this one. When you finish the one you're doing, take the legs out wide, hang on to the ropes, and just stretch the inner thighs. You can do a little rock, adjust the tension with your hands, or bend the knees. You choose the best inner thigh stretch for you. And then take the feet out of the straps, pop your handles down. We're going to stay lying down because we're going to do pelvic curls. So heels on the bar, press the carriage away a little bit. Now let's keep the carriage still as we roll our hips up and roll back down. On the way up, we tilt the pelvis, flatten the lower back, and then everything reaches nice and straight. Bit of a roll on the way down, and then you straighten back out again. So on the way up and the way down, we want it to feel like that rounding, rolling movement, flattening the lower back into the carriage. But at the top and the bottom, everything sort of lengthens out, finds that nice straight line again. We can feel a lot of work in our legs, particularly our hamstrings, the back of our thighs. But we also have the glutes, the bum muscles working. So right at the top, really try and tilt the pelvis, get the pubic bone up as high as you can. And that's also going to help us connect our abdominals, a little bit of ribs to hips at the front. Even though it's a leg exercise, we've got a lot of stabilizing in the center too. All right, on the next one, let's stay up and we're going to do hamstring curls. So we keep the hips lifted, press away, pull back in, press away, pull back in. Trying to keep our hips up off the carriage. That's our first goal. If we can, notice that the hips are going to come down a little bit when you press away. Try and re-lift them up nice and high as you pull in. So you're going out and in, but also down and up. One more, and then we can roll back down. Let's take a moment to stretch the hamstrings. Catch onto one calf and pull it towards you, letting the knee be a little bit bent, stretching the back of the thigh. Change sides, hold the calf or ankle and pull it towards you, stretching the back of the leg. And then release. Let's come up to a seated position and change it to one red spring only. And then let's also make sure we have our pillow or we put our headrest up. We're going to do arms in straps next. So once you've got your pillow sorted, lying down on your back, grab your handles and take your arms up to vertical. Make sure the lower back is gently imprinted and zip up your abdominals. Once you've got your position, let's float the legs into tabletop. Then we press the arms all the way down to the carriage and then take them back up to vertical. Press them all the way down and then back to vertical. Exhale, press. Inhale, vertical. Nice straight arms. Ideally, our tabletop is thighs vertical, shins horizontal. But it's okay to have your knees a little bit closer to your chest and your feet a little bit higher if needed. If you need that position to get your back flat and keep your abs on, that's fine. Now level 2, as we press the arms, let's straighten both legs up to the ceiling and then bend them as we return. Press and extend, bend and release. Press and release. Getting the legs as straight as we can, as vertical as we can. And even though we're moving our arms and legs, we should feel an increase in the abdominal work when we add that leg extension and even just the time factor. They're starting to fatigue in this position. 2. On the next one, let's press and hold the arms down, but continue the legs. Bend and straighten, bend and straighten. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. If you want to work a little bit harder, aim the legs on a slight diagonal out over the foot bar. They don't have to go too low. Really squeeze the legs together. 2 more. Out and in, out and in, and then rest. Feet on the foot bar. Keep your handles, but take a little rest. And let's get ready for our second set of abdominals. Let's take our arms out to the side in line with your shoulders, so like a T position or like wings. Then we make sure the lower back is nice and flat. Float the legs into tabletop, hands to your side body, and then open out. Press and open, press and open. Now it's a little bit stronger at the side. You could do vertical as an easier option. Now level 2, add your upper body curl and release. So as you press the arms, curl your head and shoulders forward like a little sit-up, a little mini crunch. The lower back flattens, the upper back rounds, so we can curl forward and get our head and all our shoulder blades, ideally, off the carriage. But ab work is tough. It might take a little while to build the strength and the flexibility. On the next one, let's press and hold it. Let's do those same legs. Extend the legs, bend the legs, straighten, bend, straighten, bend. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. 5, 4, you don't have to do the curl if that's too much. 2, last one. And then let's have a little rest. Pop our handles down this time so we can do twisting stretch. Hang on to the shoulder rests, elbows wide. Cross the right leg on top of the left and twist to the left, twisting through your back, keeping both shoulders down. It's okay to press away from the foot bar a little bit to create a little bit of space if needed. Breathe. Let's do the other side. Left leg crossed on top of the right, twisting to the right, stretching through your back, keeping both shoulders down. You can have your feet however you need to on the bar, and if it's too strong with the legs crossed, uncross. And then let's come back to the center. Hug the knees into the chest, pulling them as close as you can. Optional, curl your head and shoulders as well, but just feel a rounding of your back. Maybe do a little bit of side to side. Lower back flexibility helps us do the ab work better. Let's grab our handles, ready for our last set of arms in straps. We're going to do reverse curls. Arms to vertical, legs in tabletop. Press the arms, curl the tailbone, and return. So it's like you're bringing your knees back towards your chest and peeling your tailbone a little bit off the carriage using our lower tummy muscles. And if you like, you can add the upper body curl as well. So now we bring that little crunch into it. It's like we're curling into a little ball. And when we work the abdominals, in reality, when you crunch, whether it's top half or bottom half, you're working all the abs. But you definitely feel some moves more in the lower abs, some more in the lower abs. This one's a bit of both. Crunch together as much as you can. On the next one, let's curl and hold it. Pulse your tailbone. 3, 2, 1. Then the upper body. 3, 2, 1. Both together. 3, 2, 1. And rest. Well done. Pop your handles down. And then let's stand up and put the long box on the reformer. Make sure you bend your knees always when you pick up and put down the box. Then we're going to be seated on the box facing the ropes. Feet can go in between the shoulder rests or out nice and wide. Let's pick up the handles, probably the big ones. We don't want it too heavy for drawing back, Keep the arms straight, press backwards and squeeze your shoulder blades together, then release it forward. Press and release. Now it's okay on the first couple to adjust the tension. You choose which handles you use. You can also move your hips back a little bit further on the box to make it heavier. I've still got one red or one medium spring on. If you feel tense in your neck and the top of your shoulders, make it lighter. And this one we're looking for a nice glide together with the shoulders. There's still work in the upper back and the triceps, but it's meant to be smooth and not too heavy. 2 more. And then we'll keep hold of the handles. Just move our hips forward a little bit. Arms reaching forward, palms up. If we lean back halfway and hold it while we do our bicep curls. Now we want to round our spine as much as we can. So it looks like we're just leaning back, but it feels like we're tucking our tailbone under, rolling our hip bones back, trying to create that nice C curve with our spine while we do a little bit of bicep work. Level 2, as you do your bicep curl, lift one leg into tabletop and then put it down. Then the other leg and down. So alternating leg into tabletop. Really focus on the knee pulling into the chest feeling. It's about the abdominals, maintaining that round shape, but really focus on the knee pulling back. 2. Last one. And then let's pop our handles back down over the shoulder rests. And then let's sit on the box facing one side. Feet on the floor, hip width parallel. We're going to do some squats. Let's stand up and sit down, however you need to. And that's your level 1 squat. You can rest at the bottom. You can use your hands to help you. Level 2, just touch your hips to the box and then come back up. So instead of resting, you're holding that muscle tension at the bottom. Weight in the heels. It's okay to fold the body forward. Level 3, let's stay standing. Bring our feet together. Pick up one leg, sit down on one leg, but then stand up on both feet. Lift the other leg and sit down. Stand up on both. So we're doing the single leg squat just on the way down. It is hard to balance and it's okay to plonk as you build the strength. Now, final level, can you sit down and stand up on one leg only? Aim for 5 on each side. Use the arms for a bit of oomph. It's okay to sit at the bottom. And then change legs when you've done 5. Stand and sit. We can feel the knee wants to wobble around everywhere. That's up to us to practice. Don't let it roll in too much. Try and keep the foot perfectly balanced on the floor. And then we're going to set up for our upper body presses. Put the foot bar down one level from where it is, so second from the top. And then let's lie down on our tummy on top of the box with our chest over the front edge of the box. Let's take our hands out nice and wide on the foot bar and press away till the arms are straight. Tailbone lengthens, shoulder press to start with. Let's bend the elbows and straighten. Elbows point straight out to the side, and our face should be really close to the foot bar when we come in, maintaining a really nice straight line through our back. Now I've still got just one red or one medium spring. That would be my suggestion to start with. Of course, if you need to make it a little bit heavier, you could add an extra light spring, like a yellow or a blue. But like a lot of Pilates, even with a medium or a light spring, it has a nice way of sneaking up on us by the end. So this is a shoulder press, but because we're in the horizontal, lying on top of the box, there's also some really nice back strengthening work happening here without it being too extreme. One more in that wide or shoulder press position. And then we're going to try tricep press. So we bring the hands a bit closer together. Now when we bend, the elbows point straight down to the floor. and then we press all the way out till they're straight. Now this one's much tougher. So if you did have an extra spring on for those shoulder press ones, you might need to take it off here and go back to just one red. Now we don't want to bring the carriage all the way in this one, nearly, but we don't want to load up the wrists, and we want to keep tension on the muscles too. So by bringing it nearly all the way in, it actually makes you work a little bit harder rather than having that rest at the bottom. Same principle as our squats before. This is a tough one, even on just a red spring. Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. And then we're going to do swan. Let's press away and just take a few breaths out there. Try and relax. We want the reformer to do most of the work. Now this is a back bend, so we come forward and lift the chest up into a back bend and then press away and come down. Lift and curve and then flatten back out. Now you can keep your arms straight or you can bend your arms as you come forward. See what feels best for you. It is a back bending movement, so it's okay to feel your back muscles working, lower back and upper back, but it shouldn't feel super strong or concentrated into one tiny spot in your spine. We're trying to spread the work along the whole lot, and the reformer is helping us with that. So allow the reformer to help you. Don't tense too much. Last one. And then let's come into a seated position. There's no fancy way to get off the box to do a glute stretch. So one ankle on the knee and then fold forward, stretching the hip of the leg that's on top, but also your back muscles a little bit as well. Now it is meant to be a hip stretch, but if it feels quite strong in your knee, just support that knee with one hand underneath. Let's try the other side. Ankle on the knee, fold forward, support the knee with one hand underneath if you need to. Breathe. And then we're going to do sumo rotation. So take your feet out nice and wide and fold forward and just hang down there. You can have your hips close to the front or close to the back of the box. Now we're going to do a twisting stretch. So we're going to put our left hand on the left knee, right hand on the left ankle, and then we push and pull and twist to the left, trying to open that left shoulder up to the ceiling, right shoulder pulls down towards the floor, twisting through the upper back. And then let's do the other side. Right hand on right knee, left hand on right ankle. It's like you're pushing with the top hand, pulling with the bottom one to twist through your spine, mostly your upper back. We don't want to lie on the right leg. We're still in the center, still body parallel to the floor. And then relax and roll back up. Let's stand up and take the box off. Bend your knees when you pick up and put down. And then we're going to finish with our splits stretch. So let's change it to one blue spring only and bring our foot bar up all the way. Grab your grey cushions or padding for the knees if you need to. One knee on the carriage, the other foot on the floor. We lunge down low and then push backwards like the splits and come back up tall. So you keep the front leg bent for the first part, then you press backwards and straighten. Now we're stretching our hip flexor on the back leg and our hamstring on the front leg, creating that splits action, but be careful not to overdo with the hamstring stretch at the front. Then change sides. Remember, it's like two actions joined together. Lunge first, then splits. Once you learn it, it might be a little bit smoother, but still think of it as those two actions as you do it. Hip stretch, then hamstring. One more. And then let's set up and finish with our roll downs. So take a moment to stand up tall. We're already standing better after our Pilates, but feel that vertical, that little bit of support at the front. Relax and then roll down. You can have straight legs or bent legs. You can add extra stretch at the bottom if you like, but hopefully notice that we're more flexible, we're stronger all over, but in particular in the center, and more body aware, less tension to take into the rest of our day.